Hello, Jason Rice, December 21 days of dealers' do's and don'ts. Kind of going into it quick. I know Facebook Live, you usually want to build up of audience and give people a chance to jump on, but I've been taking these and loading them up to YouTube and Facebook or LinkedIn and SoundCloud for podcasts. So just jump right into it. Too late now. All right. So this one came up. Matter of fact, we were just talking to one of my performance managers, and he's saying one of our stores is having a record month, and they're loving it. But what typically happens in the first month of us getting with a dealership, they do love it because we really start cranking up their volume, and their volume again is a record month. But this dealer also has aging that he's going to have to eat out of, and now what happens is because of that volume, he is out buying more cars. And hey, Michael, hey, Philip, is now he's buying more cars. And so my rep told him, hey, I see you got 16 cars now sitting in there. And the guy's like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, but they haven't been photoed or serviced or anything. And these cars are starting to bleed through. And they're, and he would, the dealer was complaining about maybe adjusting a car's price because it still hasn't been through service yet. So what tends to happen again when we get with an account, we get the volume going the first month they love us, they can see, oh shit, this we're really starting to sell some cars, and they are accepted with the gross hit because we're working out an age problem, so the grosses get a little tight. By second month, they don't necessarily love us. Sometimes they like us. But that's only if they haven't cleaned up their age yet and haven't really started taking a chop at it. If they're just pacing that age out and not really pulling the Band-Aid off fast, we're still got their volume good. But again, we're starting to pull up 14 and 15 and 20-day-old cars that we're ready to adjust to keep the momentum going and get their fresh sale rate up. And they're going, oh, hold on a second. Don't move that one because I'm still waiting to get through service, or man, I'm still taking a beating on some of these age cars. So let's hold off a little bit and not move that car yet. And what you really don't want to do, what is up, Adam? What you really don't want to do is, again, have your pricing process adjusted to compensate for a turnaround time. It's totally different. It's just like talking to a customer and showing them $7,000 for their trade, but they want 10 grand because that's what they owe. And we tell them, hey, just because you owe 10 grand doesn't mean your car is worth 10 grand. If you owe $1, it's worth $1 type thing. Same thing here. I know the service isn't done yet, but we got to make the adjustment. What is the service has to do with what's going on with the market and why your car's not getting any attention right now. Shame on you. We should get the service part figured out, and that's a whole different process than it is my pricing process. You got to keep on schedule with your pricing process, and don't let that compensate a slow turnaround problem. Because then once you do that, then we get lazy with that turnaround problem and we don't necessarily address it. Once believe me, if you keep dropping and moving prices of cars, I believe give a car a shot. If it's 10 days, 14 days, 21 tops. But after that, you got to start making adjustments regardless of where it's at in its whole other process as far as turnaround time. It's an investment. You got to look at, when did I write the check? And I get a lot of those questions is, when should I restock a car? And if it took too long to transport and get it through service and everything, should I go ahead and reclock it to day one? Or should I look at it as, I know it's 21 days old, but it just got out of service 2 days ago. So it's really only 2 days in my mind that I've had a shot to sell it. No, your car is, if you're in those states that you can legally list these cars, but if your car, you wrote a check. And I tell dealers that I look at your inventory as if it was my money. If I was a dealer and I wrote a check for a car today, a month from now, it's 30 days since I wrote that check. Where's my return on my investment? Because I want all my cars gone within 30 days, on average. So I can't compensate and change, or I can't change my pricing policies and processes to compensate for a lack of turnaround time. I'm going to move that car regardless. And then you do that enough, believe me, you're going to fix that turnaround time problem, because to your eyes, it's hurting you, and it is. And the reason why you probably have to adjust the price is because the photos aren't there. So you got to make the car more appealing somehow. And even if you're doing temporary photos, I think, and this is kind of off kilter here, but temporary photos sometimes really don't work. I want to do them regardless, But if it's a dime a dozen car, Focus and Fusion, there's hundreds of these cars out there that customers can choose from, and they can find one similar with 30, 40 photos, everything that they're looking for. Your temporary photos isn't going to really help. It's, look, I think it really works on the harder to come by cars and the hard to, the limited out there, and that customer's looking for that particular car. And so even if one or two photos are there, they're happy, like, oh my gosh, there it is, I got to call that dealer. But keep doing temporary photos. But again, we're going to have to make adjustments on these cars when your pricing process calls for it, regardless of, again, your turnaround time, the age of that. Again, going back to talking to the customer, regardless of what you owe on your trade, it's worth what it is, and regardless of where that car is in the process, turnaround time, it's still, if you're going to make an adjustment at 14 days and then 30 days, we tend to make adjustments at like 14 days, and then we'll go 21 days. If we have to, we might let it ride for 2 weeks, but every 7 to 14 days, you probably want to make an adjustment on a car. And again, don't overcompensate some of that stuff. Don't change your pricing process to make up for and make it take a good process and turn it into a bad one because of this bad process back here. Hope this was helpful. I'll try to make these short. If you like these, there's 150 other tips like this out there on YouTube at Lotpop Inc. on the YouTube channel. We upload them to SoundCloud for podcasts or anything like that. If it's something you want to listen to instead of watch, give me a call, 844-LOTPOP4, and email at jrice@lotpop.com. If you want a free inventory evaluation, look at your inventory, see what ideas we can give you to help get that inventory moving, just go to lotpop.com, get a free evaluation. Adam's talking about how he's on a strict 7-day pricing schedule now in both stores. Exactly. I mean, again, you get a 14, 15, 20-day-old car, and it's due for a price change, but service isn't done. What do? Do you let it ride a few more days? Give me some more time. I'm already taking a hit on the age stuff, so let me, and this one's not serviced yet. But what got you there? What's getting this dealer the volume record month that he has? In a month or two, if he's not clean and if he doesn't have that turnaround time process fixed, he's going to want to compensate and give me a little bit and forget what got him there in the first place. And we got to stick to that process of what gets you there and then fix the other stuff. Okay. All right. I already did a wrap up, so I won't do it again. Hopefully it's helpful. See you tomorrow.